Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Democracy 3 Electioneering, playing as France. We're moving on into an election year, which means we finally will get to take a look at some of the different features that are available in this expansion, because these are kind of like the two big selling points. Manifestos, campaign promises, speeches, try to drum up some extra votes. I mean, perceptions is kind of cool and fundraising is kind of cool, but these are the big ones. So now we're finally going to take a look. I'm excited, I hope you are too. Ban same-sex marriage. No. We are playing a liberal society that would get me killed, okay? I know in the process we have greatly upset the religious, okay? But they're 7.65% of the population, whereas the liberals would be really mad at me if I did ban it, and they're almost 80%. This isn't even just a question of what's right and wrong, this has suddenly become a question of political survival. No, of course we're gonna allow it. Duh. It fits the theme anyway, so I'm okay with that. Alright, year 5. What should we do? Well, obviously we need to continue focusing on the basics, right? We haven't maxed out the GDP, we haven't maxed out health, we haven't maxed out education, we haven't maxed out the environment. These are all 4 and very important things. I think we should continue spending money on it, and at the same time, try to skew the vote a bit more in our favor by increasing membership of a few important categories, namely socialist and liberal. So, why don't we go to, art subsidies. I see this down here. Oh, yeah. Right now, we only make low-budget French movies. I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from. You know I had to do that at some point, right? This is a French playthrough. I have to make a terrible American version of a French accent. Yeah, of course, duh. We're going to move up to an opera house, spend a little bit over an extra €1 billion per quarter. This will make liberals happy, increase foreign relations, because apparently people like a very cultured France, and tourism goes up, which is good for the economy. But mostly we care about this, liberalism membership. From 1% to 4.5%. That's a big deal. It's really hard to get liberals in this country, or conservatives for that matter. Like, it's really easy to switch around socialists and capitalists. It's pretty hard to switch around liberals and conservatives. So anything that increases our liberalism membership is a huge selling point for me. And yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to go for it. It's not even going to cost me very much political capital, only 3. That's no big deal. Yeah, I'll gladly spend an extra €1 billion per quarter to secure a few 100,000 extra votes. That's what democracy is, right? I spend government money and your tax dollars to try and win your vote. I bribe you. That's what it is. I take your money and then bribe you with it. Sorry, that's a bit more of a libertarian perspective on things, but I guess when you really boil it down to its base principles, that's a lot of what democracy is. In real life, which is kind of sad, it shouldn't be that way. You want to have a very politically active populace. But I can't remember who said this. I'm quoting somebody. I'm scared I'm going to quote somebody that's politically unpopular because I can't remember who said it. But there's a saying that democracy dies once people realize they can sell their vote. I mean, that's actually a big part of what this whole game is about, which mirrors real life a lot. But at the same time, it's kind of scary and upsetting. I remember the first time I ever played Democracy. It was a demo, Democracy 2 demo, and I tried playing it, and I spent a long time working on my country. Right, by the time I finished my first election, I had made some significant improvements in my country, right? I'd followed my own personal political ideology. The country was in much better shape than it was before, but in the process, I had upset the vast majority of the population who were socialists and so on. And I lost the election, even though I had improved the country so much. And then I played it a second time, and I said, screw the country, I'm just going to try to win all the votes, and I won. I was like, this game is perfect. This game is genius. So yeah, let's continue to buy some votes. Why don't we go ahead and improve our state schools? Now, that's not a huge increase, actually, but we might as well do it eventually. We know we're going to want it. The poor will be happy, socialists happy. It's not a big difference in education, poverty, and unemployment. I mean, it's good, but it's not a huge difference. And socialism membership only goes up by 0.72%, and it's pretty expensive. But again, you know, one of the benchmarks of a democratic socialist or social democrat welfare state nation thing or whatever is that we have really solid public services. Well, we spend a lot of money on state schools, we really teach those kids what's for, and then, great, we've done our job. We have to do it eventually. It's thematically appropriate. The other thing I want to work on is the environment. The environment is sort of ticking up, because a lot of these different policies are starting to take full effect, so that's pretty good. We need to keep that trend going, and a good way to do that, I think, would be to pass recycling. Now, it's not too expensive. 1.3 billion euros per quarter is not a big deal for us. I'm honestly not sure what calculates the numbers as far as what policies cost. Like, I know that taxes and stuff are tied into several different factors, and they can go up or down depending on, you know, what other things are affecting the economy and so on. I don't know what affects something like recycling. There's some hidden numbers, and I'd be very curious to see how they're all calculated, because I feel like this is cheaper than many other playthroughs I've done. But maybe it does a currency conversion and it's actually about the same. I don't know. Whatever, we're going to pass it. This will make environmentalists happy, and on top of that, we're going to have more environmentalists, because we have universal doorstop bins pickup things. I don't know, I can't read the rest. But basically, just by having it literally at their door, the French have no excuse not to be better stewards of the earth. You know, and as a result, we have more of them. Also, the environment goes up by 5%. This is not the most cost-effective way to improve the environment from what we have done in the past, but it is still pretty good, and we have enough money. I'm not too worried about it. By the way, it looks like we are on track to get the debt paid off before the election. I'd like to think that will give you like a 20% boost in everyone's vote, but it doesn't. It's just kind of a personal achievement for me because I hate debt. Ban livestock imports. One of our neighboring countries has had a publicly announced case of foot and mouth disease in its cattle. Although the chances of the disease being spread to us is very low, you are being lobbied by farmers groups to ban the import of cattle from that country as a precaution. Reject ban. Poses little real risk. This is blatant protectionism. I mean, yeah, that's probably true. I'm not too sure what this does. I'm sure approving the ban will make farmers happy. I'm guessing that approving the ban will also reduce foreign relations. I think? Or maybe this is a capitalist thing. We're going to approve the ban anyway because we want farmers to like us, but I'm not too sure what that does. We're sitting at 97% of the vote right now, by the way, by our first election. That's pretty dang good. And campaign speeches are finally available. Let's take a look at this feature in Electioneering. Welcome to Speeches! Still don't have access to the manifestos, but I think those will unlock in a turn or two. Your scriptwriters have prepared some punchy slogans to go in your speech, and you must choose which ones to use, up to 4. They may polarize some voter groups for and against you. So, obviously, there are no pre-written speeches. That would be way too much work. So there's just little blocks. You just have to assume that whatever slogan we do is going to make these socialists very happy, and these capitalists extremely unhappy. That's it. That's all that speeches are, and then you just pick like 4 of them, and these all get written into your speech. You pay some political capital, and watch the fireworks. That's it. I know. It's a little underwhelming. It does, however, have a pretty significant impact on the vote. Alright, so it is good. But, yeah, a little underwhelming. Here is an exploit I found, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and teach you this right now. It seems that I can cycle the speeches. You think this is all the options you have. No, you'd be wrong. Focus on this, alright? Let's pay attention to this. We have socialist and capitalist, retired youth. These are middle income. These are farmers. Just pay attention to this stuff, alright? I'm going to close the tab. I'm going to go to speeches, and oh, take a look. Same thing, but all the numbers have changed. The middle income is here, right? And they're extra happy compared to what they were, and the farmer's a little less happy. There we go. What if I just give a speech and make middle income and farmers happy? We could do that. We could also work in a speech to make the... Who do I not care about? No. Retired, no. Self-employed, no. Let's put in also something a little nod to the socialists. Work these 3 in and give a speech. Yeah, that all seems pretty good. And by the way, if I keep cycling the speeches, right, it doesn't just change these numbers. Like, I'll show you next turn, but if I keep cycling it, then, like, these groups will change. The people down here who get, like, a free non-offensive slogan, yeah, it might be trade unionists and environmentalists next time. You don't know. You can just keep cycling until you find something you like. As long as you're willing to pay the cost, go for it. Why not? I just happen to really like the idea of improving my relationship with the middle income, so I'm going to stick with this for now. Let's give the speech. Okay, so we're just kind of watching the reception to the speech. It looks like I'm not doing so hot right now. That's fine though, because I don't think it matters. I'm serious. We'll find out, but I'm pretty sure that whether I end the speech up top or down bottom, it makes no difference. I'm still going to improve my relations with all these different groups. And yeah, there it is. It doesn't matter that I did a terrible job in this first section of the speech. The socialists were still happy and the capitalists were unhappy. Middle income, farmers, it's always 5% per arrow, right? So if we had 3, we would have known that it would go up by 15%, which, by the way, is a huge deal, okay? 15% for a group is huge. That's like several policies worth of happiness. So pay attention to that. We just boosted our reception of the middle income quite a bit. I don't think it's really reflecting that quite yet, but that's a 10% boost. So yeah, speeches are powerful. It's a little sad to me that it doesn't seem to matter how well you deliver the speech, right? It's not, there's no risk of failure, but oh well, it's powerful and it'll help you win an election. That is for certain. All right, what else should we do? We have 25 more points. Let's go ahead and do the diplomatic service, because it's a pretty good policy and it improves foreign relations, and that is good because the more advanced we get with our technology and our GDP, the more likely we will get the cyber warfare event, and I don't want that. So improving our foreign relations is a good way to counter it. The other thing I want to focus on is getting rid of organized crime, because right now it makes us seem weak. And I don't want to go into an election with the French people thinking that I'm weak. What am I, French? Oh, sorry, right. No, we're going to try to get rid of this. I think a good way to do that would be to improve our funding to the intelligence services. Now, unfortunately, this makes liberals very unhappy, but it does reduce organized crime by about 15-16%. That's pretty good. It doubles where things are currently sitting. So, yeah, I like that. I don't think it's going to be enough to get rid of it, but it'll be close. It'll be close, and we'll find another way to get rid of organized crime completely. It'll cost us a little bit more money. I'd like to get rid of this before the election. I'd like to be perceived as strong. We'll see how that affects the final vote. I have 10 political capital left, but I'm going to hold on to it till next turn. Let's see how organized crime changes. If it's enough to get rid of it, great. If it's not, I want to save these extra points and spend them on something that will carry it the rest of the way. Oh, cool, a Nobel Prize. One of our brightest citizens have won the Nobel Prize for chemistry. Cool, that means we have extremely good education. Yes, we do. It's really, really good. GDP goes up, a lot of people are happy, Patreon membership goes up. That's pretty cool. GDP is still kind of hovering around the middle ground, but there's a lot of room for improvements, but it has come a long way since the beginning of this game. We do have a surplus of 35 billion euros now, and we are looking at 98% of the vote. Also, let's not ignore the fact that I got a technological freaking advantage. This thing's great. This is going to improve my productivity a fair bit, and if we can continue to improve it, it'll also have an effect on the GDP. That's pretty good. This actually will do a lot to getting rid of the uncompetitive economy if we so desire. Let's take a look. Yeah, see, now that's ticking down pretty quickly. So I'm hoping within the next 2 turns or so, we might be able to get rid of this. Maybe this video, maybe next. We'll find out. We could also give another speech, by the way, because you're allowed to give 1 per turn, right? 3 turns before the election is when they unlock, so you can give up to 3 speeches before the election. I believe that's how it works. And if we look down here, we have motorists and environmentalists and a whole bunch of other people. So motorists and environmentalists, right? If I keep cycling through this, oh look, now it's religious and commuters, right? So you literally can just keep cycling through. If you don't like the numbers, if they seem like they're not advantageous for you or they don't care about the groups, just keep cycling, don't waste your points. You know, keep cycling until you find something you like. Which I think is a little bit dumb, but oh well, there it is. Hey, by the way, let's also pay attention to the fact that I just paid off the national debt. Yeah, there we go. Now we got national reserves. It's pretty good for an election. Organized crime. Okay, it was really close. Really close to the stop trigger, but it didn't quite cross it. And we can see here that intelligence services does not have any more inertia. It has fully been implemented already. So it's gonna just kind of level out here. We do need to kick it over the edge. Does police force do that? No, police force does not reduce organized crime. Cancel, don't spend my political capital, thank you. Handgun laws, no. No. Tasers? No. Prisons? No. Okay, we have to find a new policy. Let's look at the Law and Order tab. I think that gambling increases the organized crime, but legalizing prostitution reduces it, or something like that. I can't remember. We're not going to do either of those, though. I'm pretty sure armed police would actually do a lot for it, but it's very... Oh my god, 50 political capital! Yeah, we're never going to get armed police. Good grief, what is it with you French people and you're being against guns so much? As an American, I can't possibly understand why you would be against guns. I understand it perfectly. I'm being facetious. I disagree with it because I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm not a member of the NRA, I don't own a gun, don't get angry at me, it's just I believe the Second Amendment exists for a reason. I could go into that, but that would require a rant, and though I know some of you guys love those things, I am eager to get to an election. Let's do wiretapping. From a law and order perspective, wiretapping is an essential weapon in the fight against organized crime, there we go, and terrorism. The problem is it's difficult to prevent misuse of such a system, and liberals are keen to point out how widespread wiretapping is a very sinister sign of a police state. So basically, you're upset because there wouldn't be due process. Hey, fair enough. Due process is kind of at the core of any liberal society and protecting people from oppressive, authoritarian figures, right? So I understand hating wiretapping. I personally also hate wiretapping. We're going to use it anyway because it does reduce organized crime directly. Now, how much do we want to do? Universal monitoring would do a lot. It would get rid of organized crime in a heartbeat, but it would also really, really upset the liberals right before an election. Terrible idea. But I can't do government decree because then it doesn't do anything for organized crime, and that's sort of the whole point, is to try and get rid of this. So at the very minimum, this will reduce it by 5.32%. I think that's enough, actually. I think that would be enough to get rid of organized crime entirely. So yeah, we're going to do wiretapping. As long as we have a judicial order, right, then that has gone through the due process. That's fine. It will upset liberals, but not too much. I think we'll be okay. There we go. So yeah, I'm expecting this to go away pretty much next turn. We should try to make liberals happy and offset some of the damage we just did, though. Let's see. What about, like, legal aid and stuff? There we go, jury trial. Okay, yeah. Let's spend a little bit more money and improve that by another 4-ish%. Let's go to legal aid. There we go, we'll improve that. It doesn't do a lot for us, but why not? Basically, we're just trying to restore the liberals' faith in our legal system, because now we are tapping into your phones directly, which you might see as a violation of privacy, but at the same time, I increased jury trials and legal aid for the poor. You can't be that mad at me. I mean, clearly, I'm on the side of liberalism and due process in the justice system, right? Of course. That's the misdirection. I'm actually not at all. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Asthma epidemic is at an end. Really, I was expecting to see organized crime is gone, but instead we have no asthma. Okay, cool. I'm not opposed to that. That improves our productivity a little bit. Whistleblower. A Secret Service contractor has leaked several documents that shed a light on the dark side of the war on terror. Should we prosecute her and do everything we can to bring her to justice, or should we reform the Secret Service and stop making use of the malpractices she accuses us of? Really? I feel like this is an obvious choice. At least it should be. Oh, we'll prosecute her. Just like Edward Snowden, who leaked a bunch of stuff about how the government was doing bad things. And he had to flee to Russia or something like that. Edward Snowden, by the way, is, like, in the United States, is a very controversial figure. Some people think he's a hero because he exposed the government. And others think he's a traitor because he blew national security. I don't know. We are instead obviously going to reform the Secret Service. The practices made public by Claire Roche are indeed unworthy of a Why do we know her name now? It didn't tell us the name before. Is this one of my ministers? I don't know. Let's find out. Campaign speeches are once again available. Manifesto promises are now available because we're about to do the election. 98%, 57 billion. Things are looking really, really good for us. Who are you? No. I have no idea who that lady is. I don't know why they decided to give us a name and avoided it later, so I figured it must be a character. Maybe it's one of the other potential people. No? I have no idea. I don't know where that name comes from. But oh well, she blew the whistle, and we supported her because, you know, we are good like that. Organized crime. It does look like next turn it's going to cross the stop trigger, so that's pretty good. Obesity is actually ticking down very fast now. Doctor strike is going down, it's just not enough. I don't think it'll go away anytime soon. Water shortage is hovering in the middle area now. Uncompetitive economy is going down pretty quickly. I mean, yeah, things are looking pretty good. I don't think it's going to matter before the election, so we'll do what we can, but I'm not going to be able to get rid of some of these things before it's too late. So instead, I think what we should worry about is improving public perception of me. First things first, let's go to a manifesto and explain how these work. Manifesto pledges are optional but can boost support from voter groups. Pledges last until the end of the next term and will cause unpopularity if broken. It will also break trust. So you have to pick one of these manifestos, and these are your campaign promises. I can promise I will cut the income tax by 25%, which is crazy. I make no such promise. I could switch to evolution. I could cut intelligence services. I could pass an alcohol law or cut it down so its legal drinking age is lower. property taxes, unemployment, blah, 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 border controls, cut, foreign aid. So many different things I could promise. It only cost me 3 political capital to do so. The thing is, okay, so I could make this pledge, like about the income tax, and I'm pretty sure if I make this pledge, then this will improve my standing with the middle income, or some groups like that, right? And I have to do that by next term, or else they'll be very upset with me. I have no intention of cutting the income tax by 25%. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be like by 8% maximum. Like, it's not going to be by 25. No, that's crazy. So I really want to pick things that I'm actually going to do. I'm not so worried about buying votes that I'm willing to lie to the populace, is basically what I'm trying to say. We're looking fine. But I do want to do a manifesto, so let's pick one that we actually expect to do. I think I'm going to definitely raise foreign aid by 50% at some point in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and make the pledge. By doing so, patriots are unhappy, but liberals and ethnic minorities are happy. And it had no effect on socialists. So, okay. Turns remaining for the pledge. I have 21 turns to increase my foreign aid by 50%. Alright? That's how manifestos work. And you can pretty much do as many of them as you want, I think. Yeah, you can do literally as many of these as you want based on the options provided to you. And I don't think I can just keep switching between the manifesto tab and reshuffle these like I can with speeches. Speaking of speeches, do I care about any of these groups? No, we're honestly doing so fine on the vote, I don't need to give a speech. But I appreciate that it's there and available for us. Instead, let's focus on something else that is important in the electioneering expansion, and that is perceptions. Let's see. Trustworthy, strong leader, compassionate. Let's go to strong leader because I want to be perceived as stronger than I am. And here are some of the options we have. So we can drive a tank. A perfect photo opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Now these media stunts do have a failure chance. So driving a tank is considered pretty easy. 85% chance it'll work, and it'll have a 19% impact on perceptions. That's pretty good. We could also land on an aircraft carrier, train with the army, or visit an army barracks. I don't know why visiting an army barracks and just saying hi to the troops is harder than driving a tank. Because you look at the success chance, I don't know why, but it is. So okay, let's not question it too much. I say, to start us off, let's do something simple. Let's just drive a tank around. Launch event. And it did succeed. That's awesome. We are able to spin the media a little bit. We drove a tank around, and now people think that I'm strong. They think that I'm the next Vladimir Putin. I'm not, thankfully. I'm not the next Vladimir Putin, but they think that I am. So, okay, let's also look at trustworthy. I want to improve this. Least tax returns, televised. Let's do something safe, right? Let's take the 81% chance of success and do a televised cabinet meeting. We're going to have TV cameras sit there as I discuss government policy with my ministers and so on, and they'll think, oh, these guys have nothing to hide. Cool. And it did succeed, thankfully. Good. So now our trustworthiness has improved by 20%, and we will see how much effect this has on the final vote, if anything at all. All right. A few other things we probably ought to do. Let's see. I'm going to do National Armed Forces Week. This is a really good way to excite the patriots. And it also improves our strong leader standing by a lot, 11%. That's pretty good. So that also will impact our perceptions. Let's see. It does not seem to have taken effect yet, but it will next turn once the policy has taken effect. Actually, I should have done that last turn because I don't think it's going to have any impact on the vote. But oh well. We will also... Let's see. We should do the electric cars initiative. This is pretty expensive, but it should improve the environment a fair bit. It looks like 8%. That's not too bad. We are going to ban all gasoline-powered cars in France. You can only have electric cars. I don't know why we have a hybrid cars initiative. I don't know why, because those are also banned. No gasoline allowed, period. It's done. Whatever. We're going to reduce CO2 emissions, the environment goes up, oil demand goes down, and for some reason that I can't for the life of me figure out, motorists are happy about this. Why? We banned your ability to get a car. Literally, in order to drive, motorists, you have to go and buy a new car. You should be furious with me. But no, for some reason, this is only good. Okay, we're just going to go with it and pretend that that's totally normal. In order to improve the environment, you know what, let's also go to our pollution controls and max those out. We're going to have major government fines. We're going to reduce the CO2. The GDP does take a hit, okay, by about 2.5%. That does suck. But the environment will go up by an additional 11%-ish. That's pretty good. So yeah, let's improve that. And I really, really want to get rid of this water shortage. That's why I'm focusing so much on the environment. I think that'll work out fine for us, and we don't need to have a ridiculously high GDP. We will survive just fine, thank you very much. Along similar lines, why don't we... Oh, boy. What's something else that'll improve the environment? Let's see. Environment... Clean energy subsidies. We don't have these yet. I was looking for it. This basically is going to subsidize people getting solar panels and windmills and so on, relying on getting their own clean energy. Pretty good idea, honestly. It's going to cost us about 3 billion euros per quarter, but it improves the environment by 25%. I want that to sink in for a minute. We're going to spend 3 billion euros for a 25% increase in the environment. That's insane. This is arguably one of the best value policies in the game in order to improve your energy. Oh, sorry, not your energy, the environment. And the only downside is the capitalists will be unhappy by 7%. That's nothing. The environmentalists will be very happy. Energy efficiency goes way up. CO2 emissions goes way down. It's an amazing policy. And this is the only downside. Come on. Like, seriously, it's not even that expensive. No good reason not to have the clean energy subsidies. It's going to do a lot for our environment. I think this water shortage is going to go away pretty quick. I think we will be doing just fine starting next year. Is there anything else I want to do? We should pass a tourism ad campaign. Why not? Let's go ahead and improve our foreign relations and our tourism a little bit more. We got 7 more points. Anything I care about? Bicycle subsidies. Let's improve their health a little bit more. Perfect. And we still have 5 more points. Maybe we should improve their perspective of me just a little bit more. Can I? Any more media stunts? I could. We haven't done anything about compassionate. Let's go ahead and visit an orphanage. There's a 75% chance we'll succeed, which means there's a 25% chance that we're actually going to punch an orphan in the face. That'd be hilarious. 21%. Let's go for it. And it worked. And it does not appear to have done anything? Wait, I'm confused. 50% is the maximum. Well, then why is it only half of this bar? You'd think it could go even higher. I don't understand that at all. Okay, well, that's something I didn't know, but that's in the game. Apparently 50% is the soft cap, and they don't make that abundantly obvious, and now I just wasted some points. Oh well, let's move on into the election. That's what you guys have been waiting for anyway. Okay, so here is the new election results screen. It has changed. It used to be just some green and red bars and stuff showing how the votes line up. Now we get to see a few other things. Campaign spending. For example, we know that we spent 32 million euros on this campaign while our opponent spent 72. Cool. And we'll find out what the various different turnout boosts are once we have started the count. All these guys will file into their respective polling booth. Let's find out how this works. There you go. There you go. Okay. A lot of people not voting. I know our political apathy was at 40%. That's a little bit more than I was expecting, though. Huh. That's a lot of non-voters. We'll be able to swing them over eventually. So our activists do not exist, right? We didn't have any activists because we didn't really have any members to our party, so that had no effect. But neither did our opponent because their party is so darn small it had negligible impact. We had a pretty good turnout. Surprisingly, our opposition had an even better turnout. But oh well. Our perception impact, so the fact that we are perceived as trustworthy, strong, and compassionate ultimately increased our vote by 0.79%. That's it. Only 0.79%. Pretty close to negligible. Honestly, if you are so close to your opponent in the votes that you need 0.79% in order to win, you're doing something wrong, is all I gotta say. Our ministers were terrible campaigners, so they actually hurt us more than anything else. And the fact that our opponents spent more than us actually had a negative impact on our vote as well. At the end of the day, we still walk away with 63% of the vote. They got 1%. Most people who didn't want to vote for me just stayed home. That's it. Let's break down some of this changes. So capitalists were our biggest problem, so are religious and self-employed. Kind of to be expected. Conservatives, not thrilled with me. Neither are the middle income, because guess what? I have a 56% income tax. I know, it's insane. People say, hey, we're in Europe. Those kind of taxes are normal to us. We think that you Americans have ridiculously low taxes. And I sit here like, are you crazy? 56%! That is nuts! If the United States tried to do that, seriously, there would be a riot in the street. Like, I'm not even kidding, there would be an actual armed revolt. You can't do that in the US. No chance. No chance at all. Changes. Health went up, education went up, crime went down, so on and so forth. Green across the board, technology's looking pretty good. Surprisingly, energy efficiency, not so good. But I think that this is not taking the clean energy subsidies into account quite yet. Next turn, I think that this would jump up to like, what? 15%? I mean, it's pretty good. Unemployment has been conquered. In France, productivity is way, way up. The environment is looking really good. The working week did increase. So yes, I cut your 35-hour work week. Now you work 40 like the rest of the world. Have fun. No, I'm kidding. Not the rest of the world. I just mean America. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world. What do I know? I have no idea what I'm talking about. International trade, foreign relations, racial tensions really good right now. GDP has gone up by 32%. Basically, the middle class is the one that's suffering the most. You'd think it'd be the high earnings, because I'm doing socialisty kind of things, but no, it's the middle class that's getting squeezed, and the rich are doing really well. Shocking. I know. Let's see. Tobacco, tourism is actually down. Traffic, alcohol, food prices are way up. So is the average temperature. The average temperature is up by 14%? Are you serious? I mean, suppose the average temperature in the south of France is, I don't know, 80 degrees in the summer, and you're telling me that it went up by like 12 degrees Fahrenheit, so now it's boiling in the south of France. It's 92 degrees. Are you kidding me? No. I don't believe this percentage at all. Not even a little bit. Internet currency adoption, we haven't even talked about this. It's pretty much because it doesn't matter, honestly, but yeah. All in all, not a bad election for us, and organized crime does come to an end. That's great. Appoint UN ambassador will appoint somebody who's popular with the liberals and socialists and foreign leaders. It's a win-win for us. All right, first election down. We've gotten to take a look at some of the different features in the expansion. I hope that was interesting to you guys. I'll admit, it doesn't have as much of an impact as you'd like to think. It really does not. And I don't know. I really expected a lot more as far as how it affects an election. Maybe it will do so more next time. Maybe, because then we'll have a bunch of activists in our party, right? Because we still have no members in our party. What the heck? How do we have no members of the party? Nobody wants to join the party of popular people. Is it the name? Does the name put you off? I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what I was saying. I've forgotten, so we'll just end the video there. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If so, then hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I, as always, will see you guys next time.